To be or not to be expressive. This anime I just finished was so wholesome and I love these characters. Let's talk about it. Alright, what's up y'all? Hope you're doing well. Back with another romance anime review. Today we're talking about an anime called Inexpressive Kashiwara and Expressive Ota. I know, long name, but really explains everything, right? This is an anime that came out in the last season of 2025, and I watched it, and I really liked it, man. This was super wholesome and cute. I loved a lot of these characters. I love the premise of the show, and I just want to talk about it. So that's what we're doing here today, another review. If you don't know, we just hit over 100 subscribers on the channel, and I really do appreciate it a lot. Literally me sitting here yapping about romance anime because I have nothing else better to do, I guess. And people have been watching it and liking the videos, so I appreciate it all a lot. Last week I dropped the video, my top 10 romance animes of 2025. You can go check that out if you haven't checked it out. More reviews coming very soon. Shorts. I want to be more consistent with it. I know I say it every time and I don't do it, but you know, we'll see. There should be a short coming out this week, though. Well, next week. You know what I mean? And yeah, just keep working this channel, keep, you know, getting better and better, and hopefully getting more consistent. But you know, we're always striving for one full-on video a week, and this is your full video this week. Next week hopefully it'll be out a little bit sooner, you know, but we'll see, I guess, how my schedule works out. So now let's talk about the show Inexpressive Kashiwara and Expressive Ota. So this show was really cute and wholesome. Basically it's a show about these two people, Kashiwara and Ota. If you could not guess already, we have Kashiwara, who is, as the title says, inexpressive. She's a girl that doesn't wear her emotions at all. You never really know. Her face never really changes. She's always stuck in this blank expression. You never know if she's happy, sad, mad, excited. You never really know. She doesn't really talk to many people. She's very introverted, shy, but also kind of wants, I guess, maybe to have a little bit more expressiveness and wants to have more friends around, and really likes, you know, the dynamic in the group, you know, of friends that she does have. Overall, very wholesome girl. And then we have Ota, the guy, who is literally the exact opposite of what I just said. He's very loud, kind of at center of attention unintentionally, a troublemaker, always wears an expression on his face. You always know what's going on. He can never really hide anything, wears his heart on his sleeve, always tries to kind of pick on Kashiwara a little bit, trying to, you know, crack her expressiveless face, you know, but it never seems to work out. I love the dynamic of these two characters, where it's like, obviously you got the yin and yang, the opposites attract type of trope, where it's like one is super inexpressive and shy, the other one is expressive and really loud, and like the dynamic with each other is very cute, because at the end of the day they both kind of do care about each other in a sense. I think I want to say this is high school or middle school. It's like they feel like younger kids. They don't feel like 17, 16-year-old. They feel like 14-year-old, you know, 13-year-old, 8th grader. It's like that. That's what they feel like, with the way they talk and the way they act. They feel like younger kids, and I feel like that made this a lot better, because like you could tell that they're younger kids. You know what I mean? If you ever watched the show Teasing Master Takagi-san, that show, it's very similar. It's the same vibe, where it's like younger kids. You know, it's kind of like very fast stories, you know, that all like just little fun stories, like little minis. Like every episode is like 3 little mini stories that come together, one teasing the other one, but it's really wholesome and sweet. It's kind of like that type of vibe, a little bit of the show. For the moments, because we always talk about the moments, I'm not going to talk every other moment, because again, these two are like the main characters, and like literally every episode they have like 2 or 3 moments, and I feel like we would literally be here for an hour if I went through every single thing that happened between them. So I just try to took out the best parts, still trying to add context, not just going for like 3 big moments, but not bringing in every moment. Only the moments that I feel like kind of mattered and had some sort of, you know, big impact on this two relationships. So we're going with the moments now. The first scene of the show we see is them in class, assuming on a break, playing cards against each other, and we immediately see right away the difference in emotions and difference in personalities between the two, with Kashiwara being very slick and very quiet but always winning, compared to Ota being very loud and being very non-discreet, even though he's trying to be non-discreet, and Kashiwara just keeps beating him, and of course Ota gets really mad at it. already setting the tone right away of what we're going to see, what the relationship is going to be like between these two characters. You also get to learn how they first meet in the show. Apparently, this was before school started. Both of them got pooped on by a bird, and Ota kind of got weirded out by Kashiwara not showing any expression at all of being pooped on or him being pooped on. He even thought he was like making fun of him in his head, and he just got very curious of like, why is she not showing any emotion? Why is she just so like blank all the time? And that kind of piqued his interest of like, okay, we got to find out if this girl has emotions or not. And to this day, he's still trying to figure that out. Which is really the point of Ota doing all these things to her, because you can see all the time he tries to trick her into doing different things and whatever. It never really works at the end of the day. It always gets a blowing back in his face. But we kind of get the first meeting of like, okay, this is what piqued the interest of him and why he keeps doing these things to her. Like, for example, he tries to trick her into drinking vinegar instead of her actual drink, to where he ends up drinking it himself because he's like, oh wait, she didn't show expression. Did I give her the wrong drink? And he drank it for himself, and it was vinegar, but she just played it off very well. And after this, the other kids in Ota's group start making fun of him, like, dang, you're always so expressive and all that stuff. While Kashiwata goes up to him and says, but I like his expressiveness, and basically saying, I like you. Kind of in a confession sort of way, even though it's not taken as a confession. But we see right away that Kashiwata has some sort of interest in Ota, and it's not just like, who's this random kid just keeps talking to me? You know, she actually like has a certain connection to him in a sense, and likes his expressiveness and likes that he keeps interacting with her. You know, when he gets very embarrassed by her basically telling him, hey, I like you. Another moment later where Ota and his friends, they get into a water fight while they're all supposed to be cleaning the school pool, and it's a very cute, wholesome thing where they're both kind of having fun. All the friends are having fun, they're wetting each other up, and then at the end they both get into another water fight again, and Ota's friends notice that she smiles at him, and they both acknowledge like, wait, did she just smile at him? Again, showing that she has some sort of feeling toward Ota, a little bit of like, you know, he's kind of bringing her into this little friend situation where she can be a lot more happier than what she usually is, where she's usually kind of off by herself, you know, not talking to anybody, in her own expressionless kind of pool. But now she's kind of getting invited into this new group of like, dang, emotions and expression and all that stuff. And it's really, really cool to see that she is on the same page as Ota, where she like likes him instead of being annoyed by him where everyone else is. Another moment where they're in swim class and Kashiwata almost drowns because she doesn't know how to swim, and Ota immediately goes in and saves her without even a second thought, because earlier he was kind of trying to teach her how to swim, but it wasn't really working well, so Ota was like, screw this. And then when it came down to testing time, she almost drowned. Ota comes in right away, no questions asked, and saves her from drowning. A very heroic moment, and kind of showing a little bit that Ota cares about her too, even if of course he's a young boy, so he will never say that out loud, you know, but showing that he has some sort of feeling and care towards her too. Another small moment where Kashiwata makes a lunch for Ota at one point, and he eventually ends up eating it. Again, showing that she likes Ota in a way, and we kind of see some hints throughout the show at this point that she has some sort of feelings towards him, even if it's never said absolutely directly like I have a crush on him. Definitely shows some things throughout the show that like says that she likes him in that way. Another kind of a little bit bigger moment, I guess, that shows a lot about Ota is Ota accidentally throws Kashiwata's hair tie out of the window in a storm. And he starts feeling bad because I think one of the other girls says like, oh man, like that was important to her, that was from her grandmother or whatever, and he starts feeling bad. And so he goes out into the rain, in the storm, and to try to find this hair tie. Very, very sweet. Does everything he can, gets literally in a rainstorm with wind and everything. He's out there getting his hands dirty, trying to find this hair tie that might mean a lot to her. Eventually, he goes to her house, ends up bringing it, and also buying her a new one because the old one got so dirty. But then we realize that the hair tie wasn't really that important to her, and he gets very embarrassed and starts running away from the house because he's like, dang, I did all that and it wasn't even that important. And gets kind of embarrassed when he realizes, dang, I did that such heroic of a thing for nothing, basically. But again, showing that Ota is not a bad person, even if he might portray as a troublemaker and being really annoying. He's just a little boy. Little boys usually are troublemakers and very, very annoying. And showing that he has some sort of heart, and that was just a really, really cute and really wholesome moment for Ota to do that for her. Another moment later where Ota asks for Kashiwata's line so they can text, and they're in class, they're texting in class, and Kashiwata gets to a point where it seems like Kashiwata is going to confess to him. And Ota realizes this in the moment, gets a little bit shy, and then she gets up getting in trouble with the teacher. And Kashiwata even says, dang, I kind of chickened out at the end. So she does like him, does kind of like him and has some sort of feelings for him. And Ota kind of realizing that and kind of overthinking things and remembering that point earlier when she said, hey, I like you, I like your expressiveness. You know, it was just a really funny kind of mix up of that, like mashup of that scene coming together, you know? There's a moment where they get locked in a storage room, where Kashiwata was in there trying to find something, Ota right in there trying to scare her. Eventually, misunderstanding, they get locked in the storage room and they're there for a couple hours. While they're in there, they both get kind of scared because there's supposed to be like some bugs in there, and obviously being trapped in a room, not very fun. They're both scared, but Kashiwata kind of hints and implies, even says that she feels safer with him there. You know, like protecting her and being there for her. Very, very sweet. They eventually end up getting found, but in a very compromising position. Another moment where Ota asks Kashiwata to the movies directly in front, like during class. Well, maybe not during class, during before class. He's like, hey, I want to go to a movie. Eventually, his plan was to go to a scary movie so that she can get scared. Because again, at the end of the day, he just wants to see her expression and try and do everything he can to unlock that. And they basically go on a date. They never will call it a date. He will never call it a date, but they went on a date. They went to the movies. They had some nice scenes in the movies. They went after to go get parfaits and eat. They were on the train home together. Like, they basically went on a date. And it was very, very fun with Ota trying to, you know, mess with Kashiwata, but always failing every time. Kashiwata had a great time because, dang, I get to go out with a friend. You know, that's cool, especially with a guy I like. This is awesome. You know, and again, they'll never call it a date, but they basically went on a date and it was very sweet. There's another moment where Kashiwata, like, somehow almost kind of adopts a little group of cats that she found, and eventually she has to like find a home for them because she can't just keep them behind the school all the time. And Ota is one of the first people that helps Kashiwata find an owner for the cats. And once the owner comes, takes the cats, and you can tell Kashiwata's a little bit messed up because she loved those cats. Ota's there to comfort her, pats her on the head, and says, it's okay, like, you can go visit them, you'll see them again, don't worry about it. Again, showing that Ota has a heart, you know, and actually has caring for Kashiwata, even if he doesn't actually know that he likes her in that type of way. Just showing that Kashiwata is an important kind of friend and he will help her in these certain times. You know, showing that even if it's not romantically, you know, just showing that there is like friendship and there's some sort of feeling and connection there was really, really sweet and wholesome. During Christmas time, Kashiwata gives Ota a scarf for Christmas, really nice. Ota gives her some random gloves he has in his pocket because the original plan was for him to bring surstrumming. If you don't know what that is, look it up and don't eat it. His plan was to bring that to a Christmas party and have Kashiwata have it, and again, try to have her have some sort of expression on her face. But that plan doesn't work out, and eventually he has to just give her some random gloves he finds in his pocket. Another moment where Ota and his older sister are at a New Year's shrine. Kashiwata is there. Ota tries not to acknowledge Kashiwata because his sister's there, and he doesn't want any weird stuff happening with the sister because the sister is already on to him that he kind of knows. She kind of knows that there's some girl, you know, in his life, and obviously he won't tell her. And so Kashiwata ends up seeing her and runs over to her, and Ota's trying to play it off like, I don't know who this is, or whatever. And eventually Kashiwata kind of gets jealous a little bit of Ota's older sister because she doesn't realize that that's Ota's older sister, and Ota's sister kind of gets close to her a little bit, or closer to him a little bit, and then she realizes, okay, they're just siblings. We get another flashback moment where we actually learn that these two met in preschool. They're in the same preschool together, and Kashiwata was kind of the weird kid that no one really wanted to hang out with because they're all like, she doesn't like laugh or have fun with us or talk with us at all. I don't think she wants to be friends with us or whatever. And so she's stuck in the class while Kashiwata is kind of like Ota is kind of like the main person, where Ota is kind of like the leader of the bunch a little bit, where he's always playing with everybody and getting in trouble and being the voice for everybody basically. And so there's one time where the teacher says, hey, you guys should hang out with Kashiwata, and they're kind of like, I don't know. And so Ota goes into class and kind of helps Kashiwata get along with the other kids, kind of giving her some words of encouragement a little bit, tells her like, hey, if you want to hang out with us, or if you want to hang out with them or whatever, you just say you want to hang out with them, and just be honest with them and be honest with yourself, basically. And that really inspired Kashiwata with those words, obviously. And then Kashiwata goes out, and now she's playing with the other kids. And so we've learned that from the start, from the early ages, from they're like 4 or 5, there was some sort of connection there, as and gives a little bit more context as to why Kashiwata likes Ota so much. That's a big moment for her. I mean, that's the first time hanging out with other people their age, and for her, from being shut out to now being able to play with the kids, and Ota being a big part of that, and Ota kind of being like, hey, just be yourself. Who cares? Those are big words for her. And good about Ota too for doing that. Next, Kashiwata gives Ota Valentine's Day chocolate very secretly, because at first she wants to give it to him straight up, but she's too scared to, and it ends up just her giving him random things until eventually she just hangs it on like his seat, and he finds it, goes, eats it, and realizes it's from her. Very sweet. Then it's White Day, where Ota has to give something back to Kashiwata. At first, again, he's trying to scare her and do all this stuff. So Ota at first gives her bugs, like random bugs that eventually find out are like candy. And also another card. And a card that says, I basically confessing to her. But he didn't write this, it was his older sister. Because he asked his older sister, hey, do you have any bugs or some weird stuff to give to, this person? And she kind of knows that it's for Kashiwata, even if he doesn't say it. She kind of knows that. And so she's like, okay, we have that, and here's this last special gift for her. You can't open it until you give it to her. It's gonna go crazy. And eventually it finds it's a love letter, to his and all of their surprise. And so eventually Ota just gives her some regular candy as a White Day gift while being really embarrassed. Very funny. The older sister in the show, by the way, very great character. Later, Ota invites Kashiwata to his house. Again, kind of similar to what he did with the movies. Basically out in the open, just, hey, come to my house after school, have fun. It's to scare her, obviously, because why wouldn't it be? We also get a flashback on that day saying that there was a point where he said, I don't even see her as a girl. And he could kind of tell that Kashiwata got a little bit hurt by that and a little bit mad by that. And so while they're at his house, he kind of makes up for it and so it takes it back. And he actually says that she's not just some normal girl. She's sort of special to him in a way, and gives her a little toy car as a gift, to where Kashiwata remembers that the toy car is one of Ota's prized possessions. Very cute moment. I mean, for Ota to kind of recognize what he said was wrong and read her emotions like that, and kind of be like, hey, I'm sorry. Also admitting in a way like she's special to him, showing that, Ota, even if he'll never say or never confess that he has romantic feelings towards her, kind of showing in his own way that there are feelings there, unintentionally maybe even, just from hanging out with her so much, he doesn't even realize that he has a real friendship with her. Because they never even really say they're friends at all either. They're kind of just like hang out and talk a lot. With Ota, again, mainly Ota just trying to annoy and scare Kashiwata. But for them to have this kind of real moment where they both recognize, or Ota recognizing what their relationship is and what he's doing, was really, really sweet. Another episode where they go into a new term and Kashiwata gets jealous of this other girl named Odajima, that wants to get close to Ota, even kind of confessed a little bit to Ota, and is always on her all the time, similar to when Ota is always on Kashiwata all the time, kind of giving him a taste of his own medicine. But Kashiwata, you could tell, gets really, really jealous of this. Eventually all gets cleared up. Like Odajima kind of realizes, oh, okay, there's something there. I'm not going to step in to the middle of that. And she just likes to see the expressions of Ota and Kashiwata as well. There's another point where Odajima kind of spills Kashiwata's inner feelings towards Ota, where Tabuchi, who's another girl in the show that's been around, she's like a big fan of Kashiwata, always there by her side, kind of becomes like best friends-ish. Because Odajima is so like in tune of Kashiwata's emotions and can read Kashiwata like that when no one else really can. And so Tabuchi's trying to learn that same thing. And so there's one point where they're all in the middle of the hallway and Ota's doing his similar things of annoying Kashiwata. And so Tabuchi's like, hey, like, then what is she thinking? And Odajima sees it of like liking and stuff, and she's like, I don't know, do I really want to say it? And everyone's like, Ota's even like, go ahead, say it, who cares? Kashiwata's even like, okay, whatever. And so Odajima kind of spills like, she not saying that she likes him, but basically pointing towards like she feels comfortable, she feels safe, she feels like this around Ota, you know, kind of like a really funny moment of kind of finally putting into the world that there's some feelings out there, and it needed to take a third party to kind of finally see those feelings and put them out there into the open. Another point where it's raining, they share an umbrella, going home together. Love the sharing umbrella trope, huh? They're going home together, sharing an umbrella, and Ota gets really kind of defensive and embarrassed because he doesn't want any one of his classmates to see them together. So he's trying to like find a way to run away from the classmates every time they see him. Eventually, you know, a little bit later, after some talking or whatever, they eventually end up getting spotted, and some of the classmates are like, hey, look at them sharing an umbrella, they look like a couple. And Kashiwata hears that, and Kashiwata actually is the one that gets really embarrassed and runs away, you know, which is usually an Ota move, but we finally see Kashiwata kind of crack a little bit in like her expression and her like embarrassment of potentially being like looking like a couple with Ota, especially with her liking him. And it was just funny to see that kind of reversal a little bit. And because of this, Kashiwata gets sick and doesn't show up to school the next day. And so Ota goes to her house and kind of takes care of her. You know, cooks food for her, gives her, you know, the homework or whatever, helps her go to sleep. Like, it's super, super wholesome and really nice of Ota to do that. Like, there's not even really much like trying to like crack her expression or anything. It's like genuinely him taking care of her. Very, very sweet. We also see him interact with her older brother, who is very, very crazy. Very similar to Kashiwata, where he has no expression, but his is even like a step further, where he's always smiling and saying, smiling has a nice tone, even though he's saying like, I'm gonna kill you if you touch my little sister, but he's saying it with a smile on his face, like he's just like having a good conversation. Eventually, her older brother kind of gets like mad at Ota for potentially, because he thinks Ota's trying to like take advantage of his sister or whatever, and so Ota's scared shitless and trying to run away, but Kashiwata comes out and defends him, kind of like, hey, no, he's a nice guy, he helped take care of me, like, don't do any of that. Very, very sweet moment from her stepping up to her brother, being like, hey, no, he's a good guy, please. Another moment where all the friend group goes to the beach, and there's a point where Kashiwata gives Ota shells to thank him because I think he saved her beach ball from the water or whatever, and so Kashiwata kind of gives him shells, and it's just a very cool looking moment. Like, the art style and the moment just looked really, really cute or whatever. Then later they go into the woods because the older sister's trying to do like the trope of like,
oh, two pairs are gonna go in the woods together, and you know, getting scared, they're gonna have to hold each other while walking through this woods.
you know, that trope if you see in those romance animes or whatever. And so Kashiwata gets paired up with one of the other friends. Ota gets paired up with one of his friends, guy friends, and they go. Kashiwata eventually ends up getting scared and runs away off the path. And though they go try to find her, Ota eventually ends up finding her, and she hugs him. Very sweet moment, and they hold hands going back through the path. You know, even though they didn't get paired up together, they eventually find their way together. And it's really sweet of Ota going out to find her, and also Kashiwata kind of showing a little bit of affection there by hugging him and holding his hand and doing all that stuff. Another moment with a friend group, they go to a fire festival together. Well, they don't go together, but they end up being together because they just ended up at the same festival. There's a point where Kashiwata kind of walks off and ends up getting lost, and there's this creepy guy that comes up and talks to her, to where Ota comes up and saves her and says, hey, no, he's like, because the creepy guy asks, you have a boyfriend or something? And Ota comes up and is like, yeah, she does, or whatever. And he grabs her, and they walk away and get out of there, you know, saving from the creeps. Shout out to Ota. And eventually later, while they're away, they have a conversation. Kashiwata's like, what do you mean boyfriend? I don't have a boyfriend. What do you mean by that? And Ota obviously gets really, really embarrassed by it, and he was just like, it was a spur of the moment thing, whatever, obviously. And then he also ends up complimenting her on her yukata, because earlier the group wanted him to compliment her, but he never did. And eventually at the end, while the fireworks are shooting, he compliments her yukata, kind of showing for the first, maybe not first time, but one of the times we see Ota actually being like, you know, potentially having romantic feelings towards Kashiwata, because we all kind of know they kind of does in a very like middle school boy way, where they're not going to actually show it, but like even if they don't really know themselves yet, they kind of just instinctually, Jesus, they kind of instinctually know, kind of, that type of thing. But this is one of the first times where we see him actually like show that, okay, there actually is romantic feelings there, and you know he's actually embarrassed and flustered by the things he's saying. The final one we get is in the final episode where Ota is up late at night doing summer work because he forgot to do his summer homework, and it's, you know, the last day before they have to go back to school. And so him and Kashiwata are texting overnight. Kashiwata's in bed, kind of being like, yeah, whatever. She says that she's happy that she gets to see him again. And Ota's kind of like, okay. He types in, I guess, as a response. But the sister, Ota's older sister, who was sleeping a second ago, wakes up and is like, that's all you're gonna say? That dry response or whatever? And so she takes his phone and sends a kissing emoji to Kashiwata and goes right back to sleep. And then they both don't know what to do because Ota's like, how do I delete this? What do I do? What do I do? And Kashiwata's like, whoa, what does that mean? Or whatever. And it's super, super fun. And that's basically how the romantic moments kind of end. So yeah, they don't end up getting together or even confessing or anything like that. But honestly, I feel like for this show, it kind of works a little bit in a way because it's like, again, they're very young. They're both still learning about expressions and anything like that. And I feel like the way they were going, it would have been very just like, I felt like we would have been jumped a couple steps in front to go from that to being like, okay, we're dating or whatever. Like I felt like it would have been a very big jump, and I feel like we're not ready to take that jump yet, and I feel like it's okay because again, I feel like episode by episode we're progressing into more of Kashiwata being a little bit more open and comfortable around Ota and expressing herself around Ota, but Ota also is still kind of realizing how much Kashiwata actually means to him, you know, and still figuring that out, figuring his feelings out. So I think it's okay that it didn't end in a confession or end in a dating or even end in, like, they still kind of don't really know that the other one likes them back in that type of way yet. You know, we're not even at that point where like all the other friends kind of infer that, but the other friends don't 100% know that they like each other. You know, like I just feel like we're moving at a little bit of a slower burn pace, but I feel like it fits and it's okay for this show because of the, you know, the wholesomeness, the sweetness of it. Then you see every episode feels like they're growing more and more closer together and their relationship is going a little bit more. We didn't have to go from here to here. You know, we didn't have to make that big of a jump. Overall, at the end of the day, I think this is a super wholesome, super cute show. I loved a lot of the moments from it. I love both these characters a lot for some reason. I love Kashiwata because of her just like wholesomeness, her sweetness, her being expressionless or whatever, but also being able to play into the joke sometimes and being able to, you know, her figuring herself out and being a lot more comfortable. You know, I feel like it's relatable in that way. And Ota as well, you know, he is sometimes annoying and troublemaking. You can see that he has a nice heart. You see he's a good kid on the inside. He's just being a regular boy, you know, which I can respect that. You know, but you also see, I liked him the last couple episodes because you saw him be a little bit more mature and a little bit more like nicer to Kashiwata, you know, and him discovering himself a little bit more. I like that a lot as well. So yeah, I was a big fan of this show, man. I think it's one of those just sweet shows where you can just put on if you want to watch something super cute where you don't have to worry about too much. Like, there's not really much drama that happens in the show. It's not some super sad moments or even super crazy romantic moments or whatever. Like, you just want to watch a little cute, sweet show, you know? I think this is the one. Like, you just want to put something on, have fun, smile, you know, be cute, or whatever. Don't have to really think or show too much, like, you know, shed tears or anything. Like, just super sweet. Queef? What was I talking about? What did I almost say? Something super sweet and wholesome. You want something super sweet and wholesome, you don't have to like think too much or have too many emotions about it. I think this is the show for you, you know. And it's kind of showing that hopefully we get more season 2, season 3, even. Like, if we're going to go slow burn, let's go slow burn then. Like, I'd be here for it because I really like the progression of this show. I think it's doing it right. Of like the pacing and all that stuff. It doesn't feel too fast. It doesn't feel too slow. It feels like we're actually going at a good pace that I really like. So yeah, I was a big fan of the show. Again, I always recommend you go and watch the show for yourself. You know, because I'm just saying my opinion or whatever. You can go watch the show and have your own opinions and infer whatever you want to infer. But I really recommend it. Overall, I give this 2 good old thumbs up. Just really, really nice. Yeah, that's all I got. Thank y'all for watching. Again, striving for 1 full video per week. We'll be back with a full video next week. We'll be back with a short next week. And I really want to lock in a lot more on the romance anime. I feel like I've been slacking a little bit. This show took me a couple days to watch because I had a lot of stuff going on, but I really want to lock in a lot more because there's more romance from last season I want to watch. There's some more romance from this season that I've heard have been pretty good, and I want to get locked in on that too. And I just want to be more locked in on the romance anime stuff, so I'm gonna try to do that. And yeah, if you did like the video, hit the like button. You know, I'd really appreciate it. Comment something down below, whether about the show or about whatever you want. I guess it just helps out the algorithm. So liking and, you know, commenting would be really nice. If you do like the content, hit subscribe. You know, I'd really appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. If you like romance anime, want to keep up with romance anime, like hearing me talk about romance anime, then leave a subscribe. Well, hit the subscribe button, you know, down there. Also, go check out my main channel, Everyday Hoops. It's linked in the description below. It's a channel where I talk about basketball, literally the exact opposite of what we do over here. You know, so you like basketball, know someone likes basketball, let them know about the channel. You know, we've been doing pretty good recently, and that's my baby. That's my main channel. So go check that out. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.